Hi, I'm Taya Williams. Thank you for joining me here on Taya's Sweet Aroma. For today's recipe, I decided to share with you one of my favorite sweet treats. It is one that I ate all the time when I was pregnant with my youngest son. It was one of the few things I could eat during that pregnancy. And that recipe is for my homemade blondies. If you've never had a blondie before, it's basically a brownie without the chocolate or the cocoa in some cases. It is a very decadent kind of dessert. It's full of butter and, well, butter and sugars, which reminds me, I want to get my butter on the stove and melting so that it can come to room temperature before we get started with everything else. But it is such a delicious treat. It's very, very easy to make. And only requires just a few ingredients. So as soon as I get through getting all of these ingredients prepped and ready and my butter has had a chance to cool, I will show you all the ingredients. The ingredients you're gonna need for these blondies is some all-purpose flour, some unsalted butter that has melted and cooled. Now before I melted the butter, I took about a half a tablespoon of it, buttered this 9x9 inch pan really well on the inside, and then I lined it with some parchment paper, and that way I'll be able to pull the blondies out a lot easier to cut them when they're done. You'll also need some granulated sugar, dark brown sugar, salt, baking powder, some eggs, pure vanilla extract, as well as an ingredient that's optional, but since it's the season, I also have here some fall colored sprinkles. Now I'm gonna start by getting my dry ingredients mixed together. So I'm gonna add in my salt and baking powder into my flour, give them a good whisk, make sure that they get combined before we start the rest of it, because you don't wanna overwork the flour in your blondies, because then it will cause them not to be so nice and moist. They'll kind of dense up on you because you'll activate those glutens in that flour. So get these mixed first and set them aside. Then you want to take your melted butter and your sugar, and we're going to start creaming these together. So I'm going to start adding in the sugars to the butter. Once you get all your sugars in, you want to cream them together with the butter for 2 minutes before you go on to the next step. Okay, that has creamed together nicely. I'm gonna go ahead and take my eggs and get them cracked. Add them to the bowl along with the vanilla. Give them a whisk. Okay, once you get your eggs and vanilla added in, you'll wanna whisk for about another minute to 2 minutes. You'll know it's ready when you can get it and sort of draw on the top of it. Now I'm gonna add in my flour, salt, and baking powder mixture. Begin folding everything together. When there's no more flour hanging out in the bowl, then you know that everything has been well combined. You wanna stop mixing at that point. Then add your batter into the pan. Then you just wanna spread it out evenly. Now is when I like to take my sprinkles and sprinkle them over the top. If you want, you can also just add your sprinkles in with the batter. It's up to you. Add as much or as little of the sprinkles as you want, or do no sprinkles at all. Really up to you, but I think this looks really pretty. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this pan into my oven, which has been preheating. They are gonna bake for around 40 minutes. Now, you wanna probably start checking them around 35 minutes. They're gonna get nice and golden on the top. If you're unsure if they're done, you wanna just take a toothpick, enter it into the center of the pan. If it comes out clean, then you know it's ready. So I will show you what they look like when they're done. The Blondie is now done. I've taken it out of the oven to allow it to cool slightly before I cut into it. This Blondie is still a bit warm, but I wanted to cut into it and give it a taste. Now, if you want all your pieces to be nice and uniform and in shape, allow it to cool completely before you cut them. I picked a corner piece. It's still nice and sort of gooey in the middle. Has a nice crust on the top. And if I had to describe the taste to you, I say it tastes like a chocolate chip cookie without the chocolate chips, if that makes any kind of sense at all. But it just, you can smell all the butter. Has like a caramely kind of taste from the brown sugar. And of course the butter. When you eat caramel, you taste all that butter in it. So delicious. Just moist and Anyhow, you can find this written recipe over on my blog at myinspiredaccounts.com. I'll be sure to include a link down below in the description box where you can find that written recipe. And as always, I thank you for spending time with me here today. Don't forget to like and subscribe below, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.